everyone. How you doing? We got what was supposed to be I thought was going to be a nice, simple little topic and stuff. It grew on me today as I was doing more research from what I had before, and ideas popped into my head. And so it should be a really interesting one. Hey, all right, let me check everybody here that's sneaking in here. All right, first one here was Sue, downtown mini homesteader, followed by Michael 58. And then we just had, come on, my mouse is screwing up. Howie at Food Forest Permaculture came in here. Yeah, I'm going to have problems tonight because my wireless mouse, my Logitech, which is to get another one exactly like this one on Amazon, I can only find it for 80 some odd dollars or more, and I only paid $9 for it. It's the one that it's got two separate things here. It's not just one piece of molded plastic coming up here.
Right.
I had problems with those molded ones when we were at work. We all did. We had them hunt down and find the old-fashioned ones for us to use because they were getting used so much. The molded ones just kept, being used 24/7 in the coordination center. They're just. And Will, JIT preparedness and info just came in. All right. So let's go over here. All right. So frozen and broken, the obvious and not the obvious. I added that last part because things started going a little different here. So let's take a look as this thing took it out. Well, we're talking about being frozen down below freezing temperatures, and something we don't want our preps to be in. And so originally I was just going to say, freezing temperatures can wipe out your preps. And I had some other little things, and it just kind of changed and grew to other stuff because we're talking more than just food and water now. Some things came in that came up that as I was doing research, it's like, Gil, you stupid idiot, you should have thought about that weeks ago. So, hey, I make mistakes, folks, and I will admit it when I make a mistake. It happens about twice a century. I'm on my fourth one. Yes, I'm old. Okay, so we're going to start outdoors with what's been going on lately. We've had, back in on Labor Day weekend, we had an early frost here, and I know some other places were experiencing some freezing temperatures around and had damage done to their gardens. Some have even gotten some snow, not quite this bad. Snow came, melted, and went away, as the first snow does. But there were some great ones put out there of articles about the preps from the gardens. Audra at Homesteading in Idaho did one. I think Martha at Old School Prepper did one, and someone else back east. It was either Kathy at North Star Prep Center or Pennsylvania Prepper. Talked about the tomatoes and stuff, and how. And Audra's the one that really put it out there. Is if you have tomatoes that have been through a frost, don't can them. What happens is the frost, though, when a tomato plant goes through the stress of a frost, it starts pulling nutrients back from the fruit. Hey, Skinner Farms is in the house. Hey, welcome. And so because it pulls the nutrients and stuff back out of the tomato, the acidic levels are off and the sugar levels are off. And we go to try to can it, it's not stable. And it just doesn't work right. So it's good. You can eat them still. You can, dehydrate them. You can freeze dry them. You can do other things, but you don't want to, water bath can them.
Right. Easiest way, folks, is dehydrate it and powderize it. You take your coffee grinder, you get your dried tomatoes, and you grind it into a fine powder. And that you could add olive oil to it, and it reconstitutes very good. Also makes a good ketchup too.
Yeah. Okay. Will is saying snow in Wisconsin. All right.
Yep.
So I'm sorry, guys. I'm snacking on Starburst. I forgot to eat dinner. I need sugar to keep me going right now.
See, I think ahead. That's why I have a crock pot. A gill, beef and potatoes. That's why I heard the ding. That's why I left over there.
All right. So some people get these little garden sheds delivered, ones they can just drop off. I've seen more and more people talk about their they'll insulate it to put their preps out there. They may or may not run electricity for a light. If they don't have electricity for a light, they don't have electricity for an air conditioner or a heater. Okay, Blue Healer, hey, how's it going? He says 3 inches of snow in Iowa yesterday. Ugh. And we're supposed to get some tomorrow night. We have 20% chance of snow showers tomorrow night and a bunch more on Friday night and Saturday.
That's only if you're on the east side of Idaho and the north. I can't tell for southwest Idaho. It could be snow, sleet, tornado, rain,
or hail,
or heat. I got some weird figures on southern Idaho.
Yeah. And so these are nice additions to, if you don't have room in your house, to put a little shed out there and put your preps in it. But you got to remember, hey, just because you insulate it doesn't mean that the heat's not going to get in there. Doesn't mean that the cold's not going to get in there. It just takes longer. Now, some people get the real nice ones, fancy ones. Same thing. They'll insulate the walls and stuff, but you notice this one here is up off the ground, and they don't insulate the floor. And where do you put your water? On the floor. Eastern Washington is supposed to get snow Friday. Yep. All right. Well, we'll throw this in here. All right. There it goes. This is going to take this time. It's stinking. It's stinking. There it goes. All right. And then some people, they get the Rubbermaid Cheapo from Costco or Sam's Club. Now, what's interesting, diverting here just for a second, when I was pulling up all these photographs and stuff and doing research on it, there was, and one of the things I was searching, a bunch of photos popped up about root cellars underground, which is even better because it maintains the temperature. But the one they had, they built a cinder block root cellar, put a cement cap on it, put stairs come up out of it. The stairs came up in one of these garden sheds. It's good because they opened up the door and there's the stairs going down into the root cellar. I thought that was ingenious in my point of view. Now, this is a metal one. You can tell with the metal gussets and stuff, and they actually put a roll-up door on it like a garage. And they just got all their preps in there. But even though it's insulated, if there's not a heater, guess what's going to happen if you're in real cold temperature? After a while, that cold's going to get in there and start freezing all these cans in the background here and foreground. You're going to have frozen raviolis and frozen whatever this jalapeno sauce and stuff. Yeah, it's all going to be frozen.
Remember, folks, it does affect cans too. Instead of shattering, it'll bulge, and you don't want a bulge can.
Yeah. All right. So now some people, especially those that are getting older a little bit, Will's trying to come in. Let's see. It's I don't see his picture yet. He's trying to do it on his phone. We'll see what happens. All right. So let me go to the next slide here. Now, some people take their house and they're like in the bed. They'll put the closets. They'll start putting stuff in the closet. Or they'll take a bedroom that's no longer being used. And guess what? Let's see if I can bring Will in here. Will's not popping up here, right? Okay. So they'll store everything in a bedroom, and okay, he's trying again. And what'll happen is they'll turn off the heating and cooling duct vents. They'll block it off of that room because they don't want it to get too hot and spoil the food. And you know, so they don't want the heater on, and then they forget. Well, they need to have the AC in there to keep it a little bit cool in the summertime, and they need to have the heater on to keep it warm in the wintertime so it doesn't freeze. That's what's okay. We're going to jump around here a little bit. Okay, yeah, no. Here's another one. So, some people go all out and they put nice shelves in there in the spare bedroom, and they really do it up nice. Remember, no heat can equal a disaster. Will's trying again. It looks like his phone is not cooperating. No, there he goes out again. He's appearing to me down here, but everyone down below what we call the green room, where he's trying to come in or backstage, and so he's trying to come in, but it's not showing his picture or anything. He's trying to do it on his phone. And disaster equals if you have canning jars and stuff in one of these rooms, and there's no heat in there, and that room gets cold halfway through winter. You're going to start having jars cracking and other things cracking. Now, some people store their stuff out in a travel trailer. If you're in a cold area where you get snow, that could be a really, hey, it's 2.5 acres. Hey, how you doing? If you're storing stuff out here, unless it's dry food or freeze-dried, that could be a problem because anything that has liquid in it will freeze. Now, someone who's not in here yet, who's going to remain nameless, of course, they're trainers, always says, I'm down in Southern California, and it's warm, and we don't get snow, and we don't get anything. And to that, I have to say, well, yeah, you could have a nice travel trailer like this sitting out there, but when I lived in Southern California, several years, we got freezes up in Tonga Canyon, just a few miles away from Burbank and Pasadena. And Maccabeus off-grid and everyday survival's in the house.
And Robert Moore just sneaked in.
Yeah. Hey, Robert. Because I remember us scrambling to cover up the fig trees and the citrus trees to keep them from freezing. So it can happen even in sunny Southern California. And I was hoping that Reed would come in here and tell me about how in New Mexico, the desert there, how they get frost and frozen stuff there.
In his part of New Mexico, they still get snow.
Yeah. And if you have your bug out vehicle and you have water in there, guess what? You could have some broken water jugs, and it could be ruining your nice carpet in there or whatever, all your sleeping bags and clothes you have stashed in there. So you got to be careful of freezing because, hey, a broken water pipe is no fun for anyone. Okay. And of course, it does make nice artwork in the middle of your living room. All you need is some accent lights on that, green and a blue and a yellow, flickering to give it nice colors. And the worst part, well, not the worst, part of the worst part is if it freezes while you're on vacation or something, and then it starts to thaw out, all that frozen ice sitting on top of that the drywall and the ceiling, guess where it's coming? It's coming down, and the water pipe's going to start leaking again. And your garage, if you have water pipes in your garage, you don't have some sort of heater out there, hey, at least they have AAA. AAA will take care of the cars.
Or if you don't insulate your pipes.
Yeah.
A lot of new houses, they do not insulate your pipes. And you have to retro check your whole house. Yeah. Because a lot of people, when we had a freeze over here, half the new construction, all, guess what?
Broke.
Yep, all their pipes broke. I made a lot of money, but...
Yeah. And, when you consider this, if this is out in their garage, and say they have their generator out there, look how high the water is up on the rims here. I mean, they're up past the tires into the rims on these cars. So I'm saying that the generator's toast. If you had a bunch of water jugs out there or some 55 or 30-gallon barrels of water, guess what? Those are split open. If you had stuff out in this garage, you've lost it, just about everything. Let's take a look at the next one here. So, guys, now I've got it kind of opened up here. So, side chat. any suggestions on what not to do as far as storing your supplies, or what you should be doing? Feel free to start throwing it up there in the chat.
Right.
Or tossing it up. Don't want to throw it.
Now, Gil and Will down, up and down. But anyway, what I should bring up, any of you guys cache stuff out there, like I told Hubble's cat, if you think the dirt's going to insulate or freeze, you have to bury it 6 feet under. That's where its surface temperature stays the same. So if you have any food in a jar or a can, guess what happens? It's going to detonate or burst or swell up. So later when you dig up for, we got food, supplies, and dry clothes, and you put it all together with water, guess what happens to your cache?
It gets very moldy.
I think bears and everybody else like, delicious food. Because they will smell it once it starts rotting.
Let me think back here. It was the 74, 75 winter. I was living in Fredonia, Arizona. That's on the north rim of the Grand Canyon.
Yep.
My sister was living in Draper, Utah, up south of Salt Lake City and north of Provo. They had a freeze so bad there. Her several of her brother-in-laws and sister-in-laws' homes, the pipe where it goes, the water pipe coming to the house was buried low, and then it came up and came through the wall into the basement, 24 inches deep. The ground there froze down to 38 inches. So that line coming up broke. Not only did it break, it broke the solder joint going into the basement and popped it loose in the middle of the night and flooded the basement. Because once that broke loose, that ice plug moved and all that water, and the water started coming, and it just flooded. Several basements got flooded like that. One was lucky they heard it, and he knew where the shutoff valve was out there, but they still had about 30 gallons of water in the basement to deal with.
Someplace was a lot worse. They had a little swimming pool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indoor swimming pool. But the thing is to consider is, even though your pipes and stuff are in your basement, everything just comes up to the boards into the bathroom and the kitchen, whether it being a one-story house. What elevation does that water line come in? What elevation is the sewer line going out? You get a backup from that.
You don't want to wake up frozen sewage every place.
Mm-hmm. Or you wake up, you go to use the toilet, especially if you have a 2-story house. Most of the bedrooms are upstairs. You got a couple bathrooms upstairs and a bathroom downstairs. Everybody starts flushing upstairs, showering, and everything else. All of a sudden, they realize the one downstairs is overflowing because the sewer line going out is frozen.
Yep,
I've seen that happen. All right. Anybody have any suggestions out there?
They have, Maccabita says, heat with wood, electrical failure, and gas shortage proof.
Mm-hmm.
Keep preps warm and water safe at all times, at least for him.
Mm-hmm. Now, I just got back yesterday from California. Came flying in here at a couple of minutes to 6 Mountain Time. And during the week I was gone, my son-in-law decided he wanted to start storing water. Did he ask? No. What did he do? He went out and bought a couple of the case of the little pint or whatever, 12 fluid ounce water bottles. A couple cases of those, and they're down in the basement there. And at least he put them up on a shelf. At least I'm looking at it. I go. I talk to my daughter. I go, what's with the water? Oh, Andrew decided he wanted to have start storing some water. I said, tell them not to buy any more because you got to use these within a year. You can't store them long term because the material those water bottles are made of, they start off-gassing into the water. So I told him about, told her to tell him about getting the, I mentioned it in 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
The blue water 7-gallon water jugs you get from Big Five Sporting Goods, Walmart, Target, some of the other places. It's the Reliance water jug, and it's got a big white cap on it on the end and a small venting cap. You unscrew the white cap, unscrew the valve out of it, screw the cap back on, screw the valve on the outside now, turn it on its side, and crack the vent a little bit, and you can open and shut it, and you put it up on the kitchen counter, and you got 7 gallons of water to use.
Hello, Courtney.
Wide Family Farm is here. Hey. Oh, that reminds me that there was something from Courtney. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. She was posting some pictures on Facebook, and all right. It's my one. Okay, come on, let's go. Scroll. Okay, I can't find it here real quick. Dang it. I thought I'd saved it up here close, but all of these stupid ads are popping up now. Facebook is getting weird on ads. I mean, there's a lot of ads in it, but at least they'll give me an option to say, I don't want to see any more of this one from this company or that company.
They're trying to get their money before they get closed down because the government's had enough of their so-called antics.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyways, I believe that Courtney was talking about the weather there. It was about how to do the weather, and I believe Courtney, you got snow. Correct me in the side chat, and or at least some good frost there. But I mean, for us, we are looking at we have a wind advisory tomorrow, and then tomorrow evening 20% chance of snow showers. Thursday's clear. Friday daytime is partly sunny. Friday night 40% chance of rain/snow. Then Saturday morning through Saturday afternoon is 70% chance of rain, snow, then strictly snow showers. 39 degrees. 20 degrees Thursday night, nothing showing up there. Tomorrow night's 27 degrees. So
now, folks, on the other hand, if you do have a root cellar, make sure it's deep enough. And if you have fresh vegetables in there, make sure it's dry and spacious. Also, air circulating in there. Mm-hmm. Biggest trouble in the fall, we have too much moisture. So you got to make sure you have a fan rotating the air. You want a little bit of the cool air from outside and venting out the moisture. Moisture will bring black rot, and you don't want black rot in your fresh stored vegetables like cabbages, potatoes, turnips, root crops, because you did all that summer work. And like I saw one couple of prepper homesteader group that built a beautiful root cellar, but they didn't vent it. And guess what happens when they walked in there this fall?
It was moldy.
It was moldy, and they had 2 feet of water. They didn't check the water table, and they didn't have any vent pipes. So everything was floating in black slime.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to figure out where I put it. So I added it here to one of my things here. Oh, well, on Amazon, I was doing some research, and I thought I had it here. Did I put in tactical?
Could be.
Would have been just like I put the chest. I put the 120 volt and LP gas chest freezer in tactical, but I can't find where I put the dehumidifiers. But there are some decent dehumidifiers that were on Amazon that were not that expensive, and they have the pull-out cup thing that collects all the waters. You can pull it out, dump it, put it right back in, and then carry it upstairs in a bucket or whatever, get rid of it. Now, you can also have those put on timers. There's some really cool timers out there, which does remind me of something else here, though. I just ordered that. Let me pull this up here on my orders, and it's coming. Come on. There we go.
Well, Gil figures this out.
Here we go. Here we go. Move it over here. It's coming tomorrow. Come on. Oh, my mouse is not clicking right. Here, let me throw it up there now.
Okay, there it is.
All right. This little doohickey. All right, $14. And what it does is it comes on at 38 degrees Fahrenheit, just above freezing, and it turns off at 50. So if you have one of those little ceramic heaters or a ceramic heating lamp, especially if you have chickens, this is great for the chickens. In fact, that's what I got it for my daughter's chickens. When the temperature gets down cold, it kicks on at 38, and it'll run from 38 to 50. If it gets warmer than 50 degrees, it turns off, and it's not running the heater all the time. You can run heat lamps. You can run up to 15. Make sure. I think it's 15 amps. So that's actually about 1,700 watts. But I wouldn't push it to the maximum. I keep it down, around 1,000 watts just to be safe. All right, so,
I can't remember, but in the old days, they used to have a metal little heater called a dairy heater.
Yeah.
You plug into that. And I just can't remember where I've seen it. I think it was Ace, but that was like 30 years ago.
Yeah. They also have little... if you have like the metal water in can for the chicken stuff to drink from, they have like a little tray that goes under it. It sits on that keeps it from freezing. You also have your grow mats, which are supposed to raise the temperature by 10 degrees. And if you just have it in
it's a heating wire for the grow mats, and for the drinking fountain, it's a heating pad that heats the water, the cylinder, so it doesn't freeze at night.
Hey, Will's coming in. Here we go. All right.
Oh, there's Will. Will's right down there.
He made it. So, with this thing here, there's... hey, Will's coming in. Here we go. All right. There's Will. All right, he's got the echo on. He did it. So, with this thing here, there's... So, you can also hook other things up to this. One of the things they showed here was... they showed hooking up to one of those plumbing wires that wrap around the wire there to keep it from freezing. Yeah, Will's trying to turn off the right thing so it stops getting the YouTube feedback. So there's a lot of things you can do with this for heating stuff up. Pull that down for a second. There we go. And let me go ahead and put a mute on Will. So Will, I muted your mic, so I don't hear that until you get that figured out. Okay, let's see. Unmute you. Well, I muted your mic, so I don't hear that. No, it's still going. We can still hear it. It looks like he's gotten dropping off there. No, it's still going. Yeah, no, it still is. All right. Anyway, so there are a lot of things to consider. Yeah, we can still hear the YouTube, Will.
No echo.
No, we hear it. We hear the YouTube repeating after it's about 5-second delay.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah. I'll just go ahead and mute you again here. All right. And so there's a lot of things you can use with those timers. And there's also some other timers here that I had. What I put under gardening, I think. There are some ones that have that are totally programmable.
Those are the digital types, right?
Yeah, it's sort of like a digital type. Let's see, is it here on this one? Nope, it's not there. It's going to be under gardening. That one.
I think so.
I got a lot of. Yeah, there it is.
There, that should be almost all of it.
Yep. That sounds good.
Don't hear me talking in the background. Yeah. So I got this timer here.
I have 6 windows open.
6 windows. All right. So let me open this in a new tab here. And this one here is fun. I went and researched a bunch of these. This one's really cool. It's a 10 amp one. And it can run either 110 or 110 to 240 volt. But you can set the temperature it comes on at and the difference. Whether you want a 10 degrees difference, 20 degree difference, or whatever. And you can also do it for heating and cooling. So you got to plug that out for both.
Is that a generator, Gil?
No, this is just something you plug in the wall. It's a temperature switch.
Oh, it's a heat pump.
Not a heat pump. It's a temperature switch. All this is the one plug that you plug in, whether it's going to be a heating lamp or a ceramic heater or whatever it is, or a heating pad. The other one you can plug in an air conditioning unit or just a fan. And where is it here? See, you can plug in different things into it, and you can set your spacings out so as it gets too warm, the cooling comes on, and then at night when it gets too cool, the heating comes on. And you can set the temperatures you want too, so you can use it either for your livestock when you want to keep it from getting too cold so they freeze or whatever, or you can put it down in your outdoor greenhouse so you keep it from getting too hot or too cold, depending on what the weather is. But there's a lot of things you can do with these for protecting your preps besides just that. Cecilia Jensen's in the house. Freaky Geek is in the house. And yeah. And Cecilia, he had
crock pot, beef and potatoes.
Yeah. He had a good Idaho dinner.
Yep. Cowboy dinner.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways that temperature can screw with your preps. For the most part, for most of us, the unexpected problem is going to be freezing.
Yep.
I mean, you get something freezing that's not expected, and you have, stuff on an outside wall that's not well insulated,
or
a closet, or a garden shed, or out in the garage, or the barn, or wherever, and it doesn't have heat on it, and you got liquid out there. That could be a problem.
Yep, big time. Now, folks, if you do have a closet, make sure you have a thermometer and you have a small fan to rotate the air, this time for heat.
Yeah.
A lot of people convert some of their hallway closets into food storage. That's fine, but you got to make sure you have a constant temperature.
And one way you can do that is to put a thermometer in there and check it several times a day. See how it relates to the rest of the house. If it never gets too cold, never gets too hot, you're golden. But if it's on an outside wall and all of a sudden here in January, you notice, whoa, it got down to 28 in the closet here.
Or worse in the summer when it gets 106.
Yeah. This little device I got here, I got it because it reads the humidity, but it also gives me the high and low humidity and the high and low temperature. So I can reset the temperature on this, put it somewhere, and come back 2 days later, and it'll tell me what the high was and what the low was. So and this was only like $8 or so on Amazon.
Right. And you
if you're off grid or something, you could put piping underneath your floor too, and just run a fire out in the back porch or something, and the heat steam will run right through that pipe and keep everything warm as well.
Right, but you have to be careful with that one because remember they used to have those corn cob furnaces back in the 90s. Well, the trouble was you have to use a lot of asbestos and you have to have a certain rating heat pipe because if you put it through the flooring and it's not rated for heat, guess what happened to your house?
Yeah, it starts charring the wood, and after a while, it can build up enough heat to spontaneously combust. Now, basically it's stop, think, observe, and plan. So, stop, think. Oh, that spells stop. So,
and hi, Dave.
Hey, Dave. Yeah, Dave's not feeling too well, so keep him in your prayers tonight, guys.
Hi, Dave.
We're praying for Dave.
Yeah. So you want to stop, think, observe, and plan for wherever you're planning on putting your food storage to check out what the temperature is. It also goes for wherever you're putting your water storage.
Or caches.
And remember, guys, if this happens here, and you hit everything in the garage and you forgot to insulate the garage, not only is your food and water toast, but any tools out there, your generator. If you
when it melts, you've got some water storage.
Yeah, if you had some those bins that have the full top lids on it that cover up, and you had clothing in there, guess what? All that clothing now is frozen solid with stuff in there, and it's when it goes to try to thaw out, because it's going to have to try to thaw out a big huge block, it may start molding on the outer portion of it as it starts to thaw out.
Now, folks, if you're a homesteader, you have to be careful. Make sure your pipes are insulated. Make sure your preps are logically, like Gil says, spaced out and planned. And I keep telling everybody, get this book, please. I'm getting too old to explain what's going on, how to live off the land, like in the old days without killing yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, Gil.
All righty. So let me.
I don't know if you guys can see me.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Let me bring. I got it. Let me reduce. There we go. Yeah. All right. So now I'm going to go back up here to the beginning here. All right. So besides, the obvious, which is, we talk about jars and stuff being obvious, something that can break when it gets cold, and we hate the cold inside the house. That's not good. Go through it here. More than just food and water. The garden. We've talked about some of the frost that have been hitting around. And if you were planning on doing tomatoes and you got hit by an early snow or frost, you can't can those tomatoes. They're not stable anymore. And if you're wanting to learn more about it, check out Audra's video on homesteading in Idaho. She did one explaining all about why you can't use tomatoes once that vine has been stressed by a frost.
Right.
You can take the vegetables. Excuse me. You can take the vegetables and stuff and just pile them up outside and just leave the roots and stuff in there, because you can use the roots and stuff for
Composting.
Compost. Yep.
Yeah. Right. Now that you can use the tomatoes, like if the tomato was, it went through a frost, you don't want to can it because of, Audra explains all why, but you can still use it in a salad. You can still just eat it. You can still use it in cooking. It's just that it won't be stable to actually can for any decent period of time because the acid balance is all off and the sugar balance is off.
Okay, White Family Farms, let's see, had 2 questions. All our tomatoes are in the freezers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going to have to process them. That's
Yeah.
fine. But on the cold, like Gil said earlier, you could have a really bad freeze like they do in Florida, like they do in California. And all of a sudden, your pipes are gone, your car radiator just blew out,
All
and
right.
it can't happen.
I'm going to go back up here one. Okay, so Sue, yes, if you've picked them and then they froze, that's fine because but not when they're still on the vine. You don't want to can them. If you pick them and then freeze them and then can them, that's okay, because the vine pulls stuff out of the fruit that's still on it. That's why you lose stuff. Freaky geeks having internet problems. Welcome to the club. Now, some people are storing outside in buildings. Like I said before, insulating it's fine, but you got to have heating and cooling in it. Something that, because you can have a foot of insulation, and by all through winter, it's going to finally, the temperature slowly going to drop in there.
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, Cecilia, this is when they're still on the vine, the frost, because the vine, when it gets stressed out, it pulls stuff from the tomatoes. But once the tomatoes been picked, you can freeze it and then can it. Not a problem.
But if it freezes first, you can't.
Yeah, but you can still use them to eat. You can cook with them. You just don't want to can them because it throws the acid and the sugars are all out of whack.
Now you could turn it into tomato powder.
Yeah.
You dehydrate it and you grind it up.
Exactly.
It works fine, but you don't have the same flavoring as a regular tomato.
Yeah. Now, besides storing in sheds, some people, they have them. They get a real shed insulated and stuff, but unless you have the heater in there, in the wintertime, these cans, some of them are going to pop. Some of these jars are going to break. In the summertime, this is going to get really hot in here. Then the first month or two of summer, it may be fine, but come July and August and September, Brastard. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Brastard. Hey, SD.
SD Mountain Man.
And hi, Modern Refugee.
Hey, Modern. All right. So, like some people, we mentioned some people like to take a non-used bedroom. They'll put all their stuff in there, but they'll block off the heater vent and the AC vent. Not good. Because especially that room has outside walls, after a while that room is going to start cooling down, especially stuff on that wall could freeze.
Yeah, the glass and stuff on them will start condensing cold air on them.
Yeah,
or worse, shatter.
Yeah, see, like these here. And you can just crack, and that's all she wrote. Because you don't even want to try to save the stuff in there. You don't know if there's glass shards on the inside.
Right, and also the rims and the lids are totally useless because when the expansion happens, it deforms the lid and it deforms the ring, so you can't use it. It's a total waste. And
you shouldn't have the rings on there anyway. Once you're done canning and the jar's cooled off, take those rings off. Some people try storing stuff out in trailers. Well, if you're in a freezing area, can't have liquids out there. Even down where Steve is in sunny Southern California, when I lived down there back in the 60s and 70s, we got freezes, at least 2-3 times a year down there. Yeah, Freaky Geek, you can turn that spare room into a pantry, but you don't want to shut off the heating vents. You want to make sure it maintains the heat like the rest of the house.
Yep, have it on low heat for sure.
Oh no, Brastard! Time to get that Bobcat and get him turned into a rug.
Yep.
Or at least a wall hanging.
270 will take care of that. Of course, what's left of the Bobcat.
Well, if you're a good headshot, you don't need to worry about it. But
I'm semi-blind. I can't see that well anymore.
If you have a bug-out vehicle and you have water in it, you got to be careful both of heat and of the water freezing, because the water freezing and cracks the container. All of a sudden now, when it warms up a little bit, all that water's running out through everything in your bug-out vehicle.
Make sure you're draining those lines, yep.
Yeah. And water lines can break at any time. I mean, it could be in use, and but they're not buried deep enough, and you can have art network in your living room.
Even if you think they're drained out, just leave them open. That way, if moisture collects in them while it's just sitting there, it'll just keep draining out of them.
Mm-hmm. But even in your house is being used and stuff, if you have a really bad cold snap, and if the power's out, your furnace ain't going to be working. You ain't going to get any blowing around. You best have hope you have a fireplace or a indoor wood burning stove, because otherwise the whole house is going to get cold. You can have broken water lines everywhere. And most people don't think about that during winter storms. And just to explain this one, if you can't make out what's going on, this is in the kitchen, and this is all the sheetrock that fell off the ceiling where the water leaked, froze, and then started melting, and all that frozen water, as it started melting, it weakened the sheetrock, and everything came down.
This is why I tell people, even if you live in Southern California or Florida, insulate your pipes. It doesn't take an arm and a leg, and it's not rocket science, but you don't want to have, like Gil showing the picture with the garage.
Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier about basements, Courtney, my sister was back in 1974, 75 winter. We had to go up and help her up in Draper, Utah. They had a major freeze up there, and several of her brother-in-laws and sister-in-laws' families had the water pipes going in the house freeze. The water line was buried deep coming up to the house, but it came up.
Good evening.
All right. And it went into the house only 2 feet below, so it froze at that point, and it broke the solder joint and flooded the basements. So if you have if your water lines coming to your house and you get freezing temperatures, make sure that water line is deep enough, or you're going to need to figure out some way of protecting it. Now, Kathy at North Star Prep Center has an ingenious way to help keep her sewer line from freezing, because it's shallow, and she piles all the straw on it, compost and straw. So the compost is cooking off during the wintertime, and the straw is acting as insulation, so the ground stays warm above her sewer pipe where it first comes out of the house before it dives down. All righty. And okay, so we're about 10 minutes away. Does anybody else have any questions out there? Ideas? Anything else? Any suggestions?
Remember, folks, this also includes anything in your root cellar. Again, let me show the book. If you have vegetables or exposed vegetables, you got to do like Gail and get the little thermometer thing to check on your humidity levels and your temperature. It doesn't help if it falls below 38. Everything you have on the shelf will go bad.
Okay, I'm going to put this up. I'm going to go big here. All right, so this is if I can get the focus here on it, the AccuRite humidifier and temperature reader. So it gives you your humidity, high and low humidity.
Yeah, those things are really
temperature, nice. High and low temperature. And double checking. I think it's the last 48 hours on this is what it records the high and low.
Nice.
And let me go back over here. There we go. So
if you have, go ahead, Gil.
Yeah, so if anybody has any suggestions, pop them up, please. Oh, Kaylin's in the house.
Hi, Kaylin.
Hey, Kaylin, how you doing?
Yeah. So I think we covered a lot of stuff here, a lot of good ideas. Like I said, I was just thinking, we just need to worry about your jars and water containers from freezing, and your cans from freezing. I wasn't thinking about when I first came up with the idea for this. I wasn't thinking the water lines for your house, the sewer lines going out, which is another problem. If your sewer lines are shallow and your sewer lines freeze,
my weather and start doing some weather projects.
Yeah,
because those are things you need to know, especially in the wintertime.
Yeah. But if your sewer line, like if you have a 2-story house and the sewer line going out freezes up solid and everybody's upstairs taking showers and baths, and they forget, hey, there's a bathroom downstairs and it's going to be overflowing downstairs.
Now, folks, also I included, if you have caches, you have to be very careful how deep you bury it. If it's like Canada, you have to reach 6 feet beyond the permafrost, or all the glassware inside, all those fancy little water bottles or whiskey bottles or whatever kind of bottle or cans, boom. And if you have your spare clothing and tools and whatever, they get covered. And next spring when you dig it up, you have a moldy box of God knows what.
Yeah, and if you have some water bottles stored in there, and it's and the top of the buried cache has to be check with whatever find out what the frost line is for your area and put it a foot below that. Like here, the frost line here is 30 inches, so that's why I buried my water lines 42 inches deep. So because as soon as it hits that top of that container, that cold just transfers right on down into that open container. If you have a water bottle in there and you have a bunch of freedom seeds down there, they're going to get watered when they're not supposed to get watered. And they're going to be those nice shiny brass-colored freedom seeds are all going to be green and yucky and gross.
Yeah.
Hey, Lori.
Hi, Lori. Best thing I tell a lot of people, if you're going to do caches, separate your food, your clothing, and your tools into 2 or 3. Water, make your own separate cache for water. And Gil, remember when they put the old description for, I forget, was before FEMA or after FEMA? Some guy suggested put it in a 55-gallon metal can and put it in your garage, all your supplies, and put water jugs on the base of it.
Make sure you get your color codes on them.
Yeah, but I did the experiment. You take a 55-gallon trash can, you put 4 jugs of water into the bottom, like it says, put a piece of cardboard or plywood, and then put all your stuff on it. Do you know how much that thing weighed?
Oh, yeah, it's a lot. Water weighs 8.34 pounds per gallon.
Right, and you add 25 pounds of food on top of that, and clothing, and all the necessary supplies. And then it's a metal can, so if it freezes, guess what happens?
Everything inside freezes.
Right, and then when it thaws out, what happened to 4 gallons of water?
Well, it's probably everything is pushed down on it, and the water just soaked up through everything else above it. Now, the thing is, so if he's talking about the 55-gallon industrial drums with the removable lid, those things weigh 15 pounds, if not 20, empty. You ain't moving those around.
Nope. I can see a little old lady. Here's your drum, miss. Go haul it. You're only 80 years old. And get killed.
Here's a little piece of advice. If you're going to be storing clothing and stuff out in the garage and there's water lines out there that has a chance where it might break, or anywhere for that matter of fact, and you're using those boxes that have the plastic lids that fold down like this and interface and lock together, get those vacuum bags to put the clothing in. Put it in there, suck all the air out, squish it down in, and stack them in there. Those things are watertight. So even if the water gets in there, the clothes are inside the bag are protected.
I like the one that Gil has the yellow lid with the black bottom kind of totes from Costco.
All right, Lori. See you later. That's Prairie Rider Coach. He's taking off.
See you, Lori.
Night, Lori. You want a good waterproof tote. And I think, Gil, you showed it on, I think it was last month on a live stream, the yellow top and a black bottom one that you got it from Costco.
Yeah, those are semi-waterproof.
Yeah,
because they got the 6 little holes to lock it shut. Water can get around it, but if you want to make those watertight, not a problem. You just get some of the dense rubberized weather stripping,
My phone.
and just run the stripping around the inside of the lid, and that when you push down on it, it'll keep it from getting in there.
So, do we have any questions about freezing temperatures on your preps? Remember, folks, this also affects other things in your cache or storage.
Yeah.
Like your vehicles or your firearms or your medication. That's another thing I have to tell people.
Medications. We didn't talk about medications. That's something else to think about, folks. Do you have cough syrup and stuff like that stored out that it's going to freeze? And certain types of chemicals that are in the medications and stuff, when they freeze, certain ones, not all of them, but some of them do change their properties.
Oh, yeah. They can become toxic, so be very careful.
Yeah.
So you want to maintain your first aid supplies between 40 to, was it 68? I can't remember. Or the Red Cross handbook.
Yeah, you're pretty much on there. 40 degrees up to about. You don't want it much above 65.
Right.
People keep. Hey, I keep my house at 68 in the winter. Well, yeah, okay, but it's not good for medications and even like the Band-Aids and stuff. Don't like high temperatures.
Right.
I usually have mine in my tent with me, and then if I don't have a tent, I throw them in the bottom of my sleeping bag.
Yeah.
All my first aid crap.
Right. And folks, remember, if you're using a whatchamacallit, like Gil and Will and myself, if you're using a CPAP, if you put it outside, and Gil tells the story when you almost froze your lungs with the CPAP outside the sleeping bag.
Oh yeah, I was at scout camp and it was cold out, and so I had my cot set up, my nice warm sleeping bag. I'm in there, have my CPAP on. It's sitting on the little folding chair I had next to it there. All of a sudden, I'm like, why am I freezing? And I felt the mask. The mask was cold, all that cold air being pumped into me. So I grabbed that thing, shoved it down in the sleeping bag with me. And after a couple minutes, it warmed up. And yeah, it was pulling the warm air from around me and throwing it in there. But yeah.
Yeah, you can freeze to death like that, folks. Doesn't look good when you see your scoutmaster froze to death with a CPAC, died from a frozen CPAC machine. Yeah. Does not look good. Other things.
Kaylin said it right. Yes. There we go up here. Their molecular structure will change.
Right.
With freezing. Okay. Mini Sawyer should not freeze. Will rupture the membrane.
Right.
Keep your Mini Sawyer next. Your Mini Sawyer water filter. Yeah, because it keeps water in there. You can suck all you want. There's still going to be water in there. It's going to freeze and do stuff.
Right.
You do inhale steroids. Keep them in your pants pocket or somewhere on your body that keeps them warm.
Right. Any inhalator or inhaler, you have to keep it body temperature.
Because if you don't, you go to take a big huff off of it.
Yeah.
You only get gas because it's all solidified.
Okay. So, Cecilia, my machine has the heating element in the humidifier section. Well, the area was at, the humidity was up high. I didn't need to have any more humidity in there, so it was turned off because I didn't have any water in there because I didn't need any more humidity because it was plenty humid. And this is up in the hills above Oakland, above Piedmont, where the fog rolls in. You got fog, but that fog is at 34 degrees, so it's colder, and you think So it's we weren't using. Me and the other guy weren't using the heating elements on it because it was nice and humid. Okay, what else we got here?
Any other questions on freezing? This also works with heat. You just do it the opposite way around. You have to keep everything cool. And like I said, check your caches, closets, anywhere you store food and water. You don't want to get a big mess when a big freeze hits. Excuse me.
Yeah. All righty. Okay. Last little word there. All right. So today is Tuesday. Hopefully Dave is feeling better, and he'll be doing his live stream tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern. I'm not sure what the topic is. He was still thinking on topic. I gave him a couple ideas. Then on Friday, for the Friday night special, the topic is going to be personal hygiene. Really? Why? Sorry, almost a political question there. And next Tuesday here on Tactical Tuesday, we're going to be talking about backpacks. The right backpack makes a very big difference, even if you're just going a little ways. All righty? And on the following Friday night special, Friday, October 30th, has been canceled. I'm going to be doing 1 or 2 live streams on Saturday, Halloween. I may be doing an early one and then another one at 8 Mountain Time. And basically, the one may be live from Trunk or Treat if they do it here. Otherwise, I'll be doing another one. But the main thing is surviving Halloween. It can be healthy. So
do one live then. Take your kids Halloween and then do a live stream live.
Well, if it works out right, and they are going to do Trunk or Treat over at the church, I have the Wi-Fi password, and I'll just take my laptop over there and stream live during the Trunk or Treat, where everyone goes around to everyone brings their cars in, decorates their trunks up, and gives out candy. That way, the kids aren't going door to door. And if they do that, then I will be setting up there live, doing it there. And then
also on Halloween, everybody can wear a mask and nobody gets mad.
Hey.
You can wear 2 masks. You wear your N95, then your monster mask over it. So
I'm dressing up like a doctor with stethoscope and mask and says, "You're going to die."
No, you don't say you're going to die. He goes, "Whoa, I think you're terminal." All righty, folks. That's what's coming up. Don't forget, tomorrow night, check on Southern Ohio Prepping. And we're going, our Cabin in the Woods just came in.
Yep. Sorry, guys.
All right. I'm trying to keep these down to an hour now to be respectful of others.
I'm trying to look for you, Dave.
Hopefully, I can get Audra's thinking about doing lives. I'm going to try to get her to come on after me on Tuesdays. She's not ready to do live streams yet. So, with that,
it takes a minute or two to get into them.
Yeah. So with that, we're just going to go ahead and sign off here. I want to remind everybody, stay happy, especially in these times. Stay healthy, stay prepared, and we'll all see you in our next videos. All righty? Take care, guys.